a turning point in the legend of the skunk ape. According to folklore, the early 19th century witnessed a dramatic and violent confrontation between a group of hunters and what was believed to be a Sasquatch. This encounter, fraught with hostility and fear, resulted in several casualties. The narrative suggests that the hunters managed to slay the creature, describing it as a colossus, potentially reaching heights of 13 feet and weighing over 1,000 pounds. In their haste and fear of retaliation from other such beings, the hunters reportedly left the body behind, missing a crucial opportunity to document evidence of its existence. This anecdote, while intriguing, raises questions about its veracity. It presents two unusual aspects. Firstly, the portrayal of aggressive behavior by a Sasquatch towards humans, a rarity in Bigfoot lore. Secondly, the alleged killing and examination of such a creature by humans. In cryptid history, instances of a Sasquatch carcass being recovered are virtually non-existent. Even in modern times, despite occasional rumors and claims, no verified physical evidence of a Sasquatch's existence has been produced. The modern narrative of the skunk ape began to take shape in the mid-20th century. The earliest documented sighting dates back to 1942 in Suwannee County, east of Tallahassee. A local man reported an encounter with a large, hairy creature that briefly hitched a ride on the running board of his car before disappearing into the woods. This incident began a series of sightings that would span decades. In another notable incident, a family in the Florida Everglades reported an unnerving experience 3 days before Christmas in 2000. They were startled by loud noises on their back deck and were confronted with a massive, hairy creature upon investigation. Significant cluster of skunk ape sightings occurred in the Green Swamp, a large, swampy area in central Florida. This region, characterized by its dense vegetation and secluded environment, became a hotbed for skunk ape encounters, particularly during the 1960s and 1970s. This spike in sightings coincided with heightened public interest in cryptids and unexplained phenomena. Mark Barton and Chris Connor, two dedicated researchers, have been diligently exploring the Green Swamp in Florida for nearly 2 years. Their mission is to uncover evidence of the elusive skunk ape, a creature akin to the famed Bigfoot, but reputed to inhabit the swamps of Florida. Their efforts recently culminated in capturing a compelling video. This footage, believed by Barton and Connor, appears to reveal the head and a portion of the upper body of a skunk ape stealthily concealed behind a palmetto bush. In the autumn of 2000, the skunk ape mythos was reinvigorated when an anonymous woman mailed 2 photographs to the Sarasota County Sheriff's Department. The images, allegedly captured in the Myakka River area, showed a large, ape-like creature lurking near her backyard. Cryptid enthusiasts quickly dubbed the figure in the photos the Myakka skunk ape, reigniting public interest and debate. The anonymous woman attached the following letter along with the photos. Dear Sir or Madam, enclosed, please find some pictures I took in late September or early October of 2000. My husband says he thinks it is an orangutan. Is someone missing an orangutan? It is hard to judge from the photos how big this orangutan really is. It is in a crouching position in the middle of standing up from where it was sitting. It froze as soon as the flash went off. I didn't even see it as I took the first picture because it was so dark. As soon as the flash went off for the second time, it stood up and started to move. I then heard the orangutan walk off into the brushes. From where I was standing, I judge it as being about 6.5 to 7 feet tall in a kneeling position. As soon as I realized how close it was, I got back to the house. It had an awful smell that lasted well after it had left my yard. The orangutan was making deep whoop noises. It sounded much further away than it turned out to be. If I had known it was as close to the hedgerow as it was, I wouldn't have walked up as close as I did. I'm a senior citizen, and if this animal had come out of the hedgerow after me, there wasn't a thing I could have done about it. I was about 10 foot away from it when it stood up. I'm concerned because my grandchildren like to come down and explore in my backyard. An animal this big could hurt someone seriously. For 2 nights prior, it had been taking apples that my daughter brought down from up north, off our back porch. These pictures were taken on the 3rd night it had raided my apples. It only came back 1 more night after that and took some apples that my husband had left out in order to get a better look at it. We left out 4 apples. I cut 2 of them in half. The orangutan only took the whole apples. We didn't see it take them. We waited up, but eventually had to go to bed. We got a dog back there now, and as far as we can tell, the orangutan hasn't been back. Please find out where this animal came from and who it belongs to. It shouldn't be loose like this. Someone will get hurt. I called a friend that used to work with animal control back up north, and he told us to call the police. I don't want any fuss or people with guns traipsing around behind our house. We live near I-75, and I'm afraid this orangutan could cause a serious accident if someone hit it. I once hit a deer that wasn't even a quarter of the size of this animal and totaled my car. At the very least, this animal belongs in a place like Busch Gardens where it can be looked after properly. Why haven't people been told that an animal this size is loose? How are people to know how dangerous this could be? If I had known an animal like this was loose, I wouldn't have approached it. I saw on the news that monkeys that get loose can carry hepatitis and are very dangerous. Please look after this situation. I don't want my backyard to turn into someone else's circus. God bless, I prefer to remain anonymous. Numerous online discussions have delved into the intriguing aspects of the Myakka skunk ape photographs, with one particular Reddit thread focusing on a specific detail that has puzzled many. Upon examination, the leaf arrangement in the photos presents an inconsistency. In the first photo, the leaves are situated above what appears to be the creature's closed jaw. However, in a subsequent image, where the creature seems to have shifted position, the leaves maintain their relative position to the face. This detail suggests that the leaves could be attached to the creature or object depicted. Participants in online forums have proposed various explanations for this anomaly. Some suggest that the leaves are part of the creature's natural behavior, used for camouflage or concealment within its environment. In contrast, others speculate that the leaves may have been intentionally placed to cover up imperfections in a costume, suggesting that the photograph could be a hoax. This latter theory implies that the staging of the photo was deliberate, with the leaves serving a specific purpose in creating the image. Technical analysis of the photographs must consider the capabilities of image manipulation software available at the time, such as Photoshop. While digital editing was possible, creating a convincing image with the level of detail shown would have required significant skill. If the image is a product of manipulation, the creator might have created a digital composition followed by re-photographing the image with an analog camera to eliminate digital markers. Close attention has been drawn to the creature's eyes, which exhibit a red glow. This is unusual since most primates do not have a tapetum lucidum, the layer behind the retina that causes eyes shine. This detail has led to discussions about whether it represents an error in a potential costume or an aspect of an unknown creature's biology. The theory of the leaf clump being a flaw in a potential hoax has been considered, questioning the physical mechanism allowing the leaves to move with the creature's facial movements without visible support. The fur texture and the way the creature blends into its environment have been noted as compelling elements of the photograph. If these images are a hoax, the execution demonstrates high craftsmanship. At the forefront of skunk ape research is Dave Shealy, an individual who has dedicated much of his life to proving the existence of these elusive creatures. Running the skunk ape research headquarters in Ochopee, Florida, Shealy's fascination began in childhood when he claimed to have seen a skunk ape in the Big Cypress National Preserve. Over the years, Shealy has amassed various pieces of evidence, including photographs, videos, and even casts of footprints, to validate the existence of the skunk ape. At 10 years old in 1974, Shealy claimed to have seen the skunk ape while deer hunting with his brother in the swampy terrain of the Big Cypress National Preserve. He described the creature as human-like but covered entirely in hair. This encounter profoundly influenced Shealy, leading him to become an avid researcher and self-proclaimed expert in this field, even establishing the Skunk Ape Research Headquarters. In 2000, Shealy captured a video that he contends shows the skunk ape. Sharon Hill, a researcher for the Committee for Skeptical Inquiry, points out that eyewitness testimony, which forms the bulk of evidence for the skunk ape, is notoriously unreliable. Believers in the skunk ape argue that the creature's ease of movement in the video, mainly through challenging swamp terrain, differs from human movement, especially for someone wearing a bulky costume. They propose that a small elusive population of these creatures could feasibly exist within the vast Everglades, a theory bolstered by the rapid decomposition of organic material in the swamp, which could explain the lack of physical evidence. This discrepancy raises questions about the likelihood of the figure being a person in a suit. The ease and speed of movement depicted in the footage are not typical of human capabilities in such an environment, especially when encumbered by a costume. While Shealy's footage from 2000 offers a fascinating glimpse into the legend of the skunk ape, The lack of definitive video quality and supporting biological evidence precludes a conclusive scientific endorsement of its existence. The debate between skeptics and believers continues, fueled by a blend of folklore, personal conviction, and scientific inquiry. In 2013, Josh Highcliffe, an avid hunter, ventured into the dense swamps near Tunica, Mississippi to hunt hogs. Clad in camouflage and settled in a spot known for hog activity, particularly after dusk, Josh waited quietly, anticipating the animal's movements. Rustling noise from behind his position drew his attention as he sat motionless. Expecting to spot hogs, he cautiously approached the source of the sound. However, what he encountered was far from what he had anticipated. A massive black figure was about 50 yards away near a dead cypress tree. Initially mistaking it for a hog, Josh soon realized the enormity of what he was seeing. A creature with pronounced shoulders and an upright head, distinctly human-like hands, seemingly engaged in digging or foraging around the tree stump. Overcome with a sense of dread, Josh's first instinct was to flee. However, realizing this encounter's uniqueness, he momentarily overcame his fear to capture the scene on his iPhone. The situation's urgency led to a brief lapse in recording, but he quickly resumed. The distant sound of a truck seemed to startle the creature, prompting it to stand. This movement revealed its true stature. Josh estimated it to be around 7 feet tall, based on his experience in gauging distances and sizes in the wild. Faced with the towering figure, Josh could no longer contain his fear and ran from the scene. He noted the considerable size of the stump, reinforcing his belief in the creature's significant height. The encounter left him questioning the reality of local legends, the skunk ape and the Honey Island swamp monster, tales he had previously dismissed. Josh's experience adds another intriguing account to the lore of mysterious creatures in the American South. Despite numerous eyewitness accounts and anecdotal evidence, the scientific community regards the skunk ape as a myth or misidentification of known wildlife, such as black bears. Organizations like the National Park Service and the Committee for Skeptical Inquiry have dismissed the evidence as weak and unreliable. Critics argue that the lack of concrete, verifiable evidence and the reliance on eyewitness testimony, which can be notoriously unreliable, make it easier to substantiate the claims of the skunk ape's existence. The skunk ape, shrouded in the mists of the unknown, has captured the imagination of the public and media alike, inspiring a myriad of investigative endeavors. Television series like Monster Quest have ventured into the heart of the Everglades, their cameras peering into the darkness in search of this elusive beast, their episodes a testament to the unending human quest for understanding the unexplained. Beyond speculative documentaries, the skunk ape's allure has permeated the sphere of local celebrations. The Motorcycle Swamp Rally, an event held at Trail Lakes Campground, is a vibrant homage to this cryptid. Here, amidst the roar of motorcycles and the thrum of live music, enthusiasts and skeptics converge, their curiosity unified by the legend of the skunk ape. The cinematic world, too, has been captivated by the lore of this enigmatic creature. Films like the 2017 horror comedy Swamp Ape and the 1972 cult hit The Legend of Boggy Creek, based on the skunk ape's Arkansas cousin, the Fook monster, translate the mystery of the swamp into visual narratives that have captivated audiences, grossing millions and embedding the creature more profound into the cultural consciousness. Various theories have been proposed to explain the skunk ape phenomenon. Some suggest that it could be an unknown species of ape, a theory that aligns with descriptions of the creature's appearance. Others believe it might be escaped primates from nearby facilities, though this needs to account for the long-standing history of sightings, dating back to indigenous tales. There's also the suggestion that the skunk ape's foul odor results from methane absorption from its swampy habitat. One popular theory is that the skunk ape represents an undiscovered great ape species. Proponents of this idea argue that the creature's physical description, a large, hairy, bipedal being, is consistent with the characteristics of known apes. However, this theory faces significant challenges, primarily the lack of concrete evidence like bones, hair, or credible DNA samples. A popular theory is that the skunk ape sightings might be linked to primates that have escaped from captivity. Florida's background as a hub for exotic pets and wildlife research centers lends credence to the idea that certain apes, such as orangutans or chimpanzees, could have found their way into the wild. The physical descriptions of the skunk ape based on eyewitness accounts often align closely with those of an orangutan, making this particular species a likely candidate in these theories. However, this hypothesis encounters a significant challenge when considering the historical timeline of skunk ape sightings. Reports of the creature date back to a period well before establishing such facilities in Florida, casting doubt on the likelihood that all sightings are merely encounters with escaped apes. From a habitat perspective, orangutans are indigenous to the rainforests of Borneo and Sumatra. These environments are markedly different from the swampy subtropical terrain of the Everglades. The adaptation required for an orangutan to thrive in the Everglades ecosystem would be substantial, considering the differences in climate, available food sources, and natural habitat structures. Orangutans are arboreal and rely heavily on forested environments, which are not characteristic of the Everglades. Regarding physical characteristics, orangutans are known for their reddish-brown fur, which might align with some descriptions of the skunk ape. However, the size discrepancy is notable. Skunk ape sightings often report a creature much larger than the average orangutan, typically not exceeding 4.5 feet in height when standing. Looking back at the most well-known alleged picture of the skunk ape, orangutans, as haplorhine primates, do not possess a tapetum lucidum, a layer behind the retina, that enhances night vision and causes eyeshine in many animals. This fact is crucial because the picture showed eyeshine, which would not align with the physiological traits of orangutans. This contradiction is a significant point against the orangutan hypothesis, especially considering that the eyeshine observed in the sightings does not resemble the typical light reflection seen in human eyes, known as red eye in photographs. Furthermore, the anatomical structure of the creature's foot in the photograph also diverges from that of orangutans. Orangutans have 4 toes at the front and an opposable toe akin to a thumb. In contrast, the creature in the photo exhibits a foot structure more akin to that evolved for traversing soft, muddy terrain. This foot is described as large, flat, and spread out, contrasting with an orangutan's slender, grasping foot. Behaviorally, orangutans have specific dietary needs and social behaviors adapted to their native rainforest habitats. Transitioning to the Everglades would necessitate significant behavioral and nutritional adjustments. Furthermore, orangutans are not naturally bipedal, primarily using all 4 limbs for movement, contrasting with the bipedal locomotion often attributed to skunk ape sightings. Additionally, the lack of concrete evidence supporting a breeding population of orangutans in Florida's wild makes the theory less credible. For an escaped orangutan to account for the numerous and widespread skunk ape sightings over many years, it would have to exhibit an extraordinarily long lifespan and wide-ranging mobility, inconsistent with the known characteristics of orangutans. While the possibility of an escaped orangutan cannot be entirely dismissed, several critical biological and behavioral inconsistencies make this theory less probable. The reported eyeshine, foot structure, and behavior observed in skunk ape sightings diverge significantly from what is known about orangutans. Thus, these accounts are more likely to be aligned with a cryptid of local folklore than an identified species of great ape. The theory that the skunk ape sightings in Florida are cases of misidentification, particularly involving bears, is grounded in several biological, behavioral, and environmental considerations. Bears are indigenous to Florida, specifically the Florida black bear, which could be mistaken for the skunk ape under certain circumstances. Firstly, from a biological standpoint, bears can stand and walk bipedally, though typically for short distances and durations. This behavior could lead to mistaken identification, especially in fleeting encounters or poor visibility conditions in swampy or forested areas. However, the habitual bipedalism often ascribed to the skunk ape is atypical for bears, quadrupedal by nature. Behaviorally, bears are generally crepuscular, but can exhibit nocturnal activities, aligning with some skunk ape sightings. They are known to avoid human interaction, contributing to their perception as elusive, a trait often attributed to the skunk ape. Additionally, bears can produce strong odors, particularly when wet or interacting with decomposing materials. Still, these odors do not typically resemble the skunk-like smell frequently associated with the skunk ape. While clearly not depicting a bear, the famous Skunk Ape photograph warrants a comparative analysis for thoroughness. The creature in the image has a markedly different appearance from a bear. Its fur is more uneven and shaggier than the typically smoother coat of a bear. The facial structure also significantly differs, lacking the prominent snout characteristic of bears. Additionally, the limb proportions of the creature don't align with a bear's anatomy. These distinct differences make it implausible that the figure is a misidentified bear, leaning more towards the possibilities of either an unknown species or a deliberate hoax. Environmental factors play a significant role in this theory. Florida's dense forests and swamps provide habitat conducive to bear activities and contribute to the difficulty of precise wildlife observation. These areas can lead to partial and obscured views of wildlife, increasing the likelihood of misidentification. Additionally, while misidentification is plausible, it does not account for the entirety of skunk ape sightings, particularly those with more detailed observations that differentiate from known bear attributes. While the misidentification theory, particularly involving bears, provides a logical and biologically plausible explanation for some skunk ape sightings, it does not conclusively account for all aspects of the reported encounters. The lack of concrete evidence and the subjective nature of eyewitness accounts leave room for ongoing speculation and investigation into the mystery of the skunk ape. The likelihood of the skunk ape being a hoax is a topic of considerable debate. Justin Arnold, known for fabricating tales of folkloric animals, is a crucial figure in this discussion. Justin's connection to the Myakka skunk ape photos, which emerged in 2000, is particularly intriguing. These photos were reportedly taken near Justin's parents' house in Sarasota, close to Interstate 75, and developed at a photo lab within 5 miles of the exact location. The proximity of these elements to Justin's family home raises questions about his possible involvement in creating the skunk ape myth. The photos and an accompanying letter were sent to the Sarasota Sheriff's Department. Intriguingly, the style and content of the letter bear similarities to known hoax letters penned by Justin. Further linking Justin to the skunk ape is the resemblance between the creature in the Myakka photos and a Bigfoot exhibit at the Ripley's Museum in Wisconsin. Skeptics argue that the details of the skunk ape, as portrayed in the Myakka photographs, could well be the product of someone familiar with creating hoax taxidermied folkloric animals. The comparison between the skunk ape and the Ripley's Museum exhibit, though not exact, suggests a possible template for the hoax. Despite these connections, there are dissenting opinions. Some argue that the skunk ape depicted in the Myakka photos differs from Ripley's Museum exhibit, particularly regarding its hair and pose. This disparity casts doubt on the theory that Justin used the museum exhibit as a direct model for his hoax. Another aspect fueling skepticism is the timeline of Justin's known hoaxes, which started several years after the Myakka photos appeared. This raises the possibility that the skunk ape photos inspired Justin's later hoaxes, rather than being a product of his fabrication. While several coincidences link Justin Arnold to the Myakka skunk ape photos, the evidence is circumstantial. The debate continues. Some see these coincidences as too significant to ignore. In contrast, others view them as insufficient to conclusively label the skunk ape as a hoax by Justin Arnold. The true nature of the skunk ape, whether a cryptid, a misidentified animal, or a series of hoaxes, remains a subject of fascination and speculation. Darren Naish, a zoologist and author, comprehensively analyzes the famous Myakka skunk ape photo in his Twitter thread, scrutinizing various elements of the image and the circumstances surrounding its emergence. Naish starts by contextualizing the photo within the broader scope of cryptozoology, highlighting that the skunk ape is part of a complex narrative involving multiple, unacknowledged hominid species in North America. This perspective, he notes, challenges the credibility of mystery primate research due to the difficulty the scientific community already has in accepting the existence of one such species, let alone multiple. Naish critically examines attempts to link the Myakka ape photos to other known entities, such as the Bigfoot model at Ripley's Believe It or Not museum. He expresses skepticism about these comparisons, finding them vague and desperate. The ape appears to have moved between the first and second photos, indicating it is not a static model, but more likely a person in a suit. This movement is inconsistent with it being a model, yet it aligns with the idea of a hoax involving a costume. Naish also notes the absence of realistic muscular contours beneath the fur, a detail that contrasts with more credible sightings like the Patterson-Gimlin film. Naish delves into the specific features of the photograph, such as the creature's eyes, the surrounding leaves, and the pharynx. He carefully assesses these details for their authenticity and consistency with known biological traits. Furthermore, Naish addresses the letter accompanying the photo when it was first submitted, considering its content and style. He evaluates whether the letter's characteristics lend credibility to the photo or suggest a fabricated backstory. He scrutinizes the letter for its content and style, considering how these aspects might impact the overall credibility of the photograph. The content of the letter is pivotal. The fact that the letter is typewritten is significant, as it adds another layer to evaluating its authenticity. The physical quality of the typewritten text, such as the ink density, the pressure of the keys on the paper, and the alignment of the characters, can offer insights. These aspects might reveal whether the typewriter was old or new at the time of writing, or if the letter shows signs of being artificially aged. Naish concludes that if the Myakka ape photo is a hoax, it is elaborate and well executed. It would have been created by someone with an in-depth understanding of cryptozoology and what cryptozoologists expect to see in such a creature. The Josh Highcliffe skunk ape video has also been debated among enthusiasts and skeptics. Skeptics like Barry Spencer have pointed out several inconsistencies and coincidences that suggest the video could be a hoax. The creature's physical appearance in the video, including its physique and movements, has been compared to known hoaxer Justin Arnold, suggesting that the video might be another of his creations. Spencer also notes that the video's landscape resembles Lettuce Lake Park, a location associated with other hoaxes by Arnold. Additionally, the name Josh Highcliffe is believed to be fictional and commonly used in hoaxes. The narrative accompanying the video and the pseudonym usage align with the patterns of known hoaxes. Critics of the video also highlight the presence of dwarf palmettos in the footage, which they claim is outside their native range. However, others argue that the range maps are not definitive and that these plants could be found in the alleged video location. While the video has elements that make it seem authentic to some viewers, the connections to known hoaxers and the pattern of the narrative raise questions about its legitimacy. The lack of definitive proof of the creature's existence, combined with the plausible explanation of a hoax, tilts the balance towards skepticism. However, without concrete evidence, the video's true nature remains a topic of speculation. Another analysis of the Josh Highcliffe skunk ape video by Nick from the Strange Spotting YouTube channel provides a comprehensive examination of various aspects of the footage. Nick notes that, unlike many hoax videos, this footage comes with a wealth of contextual information. The author's name, Josh Highcliffe, the date, October 24, 2013, the location, 9 miles west of Tunica, Mississippi, the time of day, around 6 p.m. This level of detail is rare in such cases and lends a degree of credibility to the footage. He analyzed the subject's behavior, which is seen removing bark from a tree, likely searching for food such as grubs. The tree is identified as a bald cypress, indigenous to the southeastern United States. The subject's actions seem purposeful and consistent with an animal foraging for food. Nick uses photogrammetry and anthropometry to analyze the subject's body proportions. While the height falls within human ranges, there's an inconsistency in the arm-to-torso ratio, which doesn't align with typical human anatomy. Nick concludes that the probability of the footage representing an undiscovered hominid is higher than a hoax or a prank. He assigns a 65% likelihood to the possibility of the footage depicting an unknown bipedal great ape, possibly a hominid, in the forests and swamps of the southeastern United States. At its core, the story of the skunk ape touches on deeper themes of belief, mystery, and the human fascination with the unknown. It represents a nexus where folklore, eyewitness accounts, and the desire to believe in something beyond our understanding converge. Whether real or imagined, the skunk ape symbolizes the enduring allure of the unexplained and the mysteries that still lurk in the wild, uncharted corners of our world. If you enjoyed this exploration, remember to like, share, and subscribe for more intriguing content. Hit that bell icon to stay updated on all our latest videos. Do you have any theories about the skunk ape? We'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below.